thank you so much, Erica from reWrap in Netherlands, talking to us. Would you be able to just start off telling us a little bit about reWrap, just a bit of an introduction?
Started reWrap with the idea that there's so many products and that people like their products, but stop using them, they turn into waste. Can't we do it in another way? And I designed a sleeve for my computer, and I was at the Apple store, and they said, oh, that's nice. And we thought, oh, that's interesting. So my brother said, maybe we can do something with that. And then we thought, if we do something like that, it should be not just adding another product. We both knew about the cradle to cradle principle. So we thought, okay, we'll look into that and see if we can design this same product, but then in a cradle to cradle way. If you talk about cradle to cradle, you have two cycles. One is the biodegradable cycle. So all the materials that you use come from nature and can return to nature. And the other cycle is more technical cycle, so that you use materials, but you will, after use, be able to reuse them with the same quality still. So not lower quality that in the end it will become waste again, but knowing how to disassemble easy and to reuse it with the same qualities. And then we thought, this is what we think the world needs. And we started to look into this. We designed our sleeves, computer and iPad and iPhone sleeves first, which sounds very simple, but trying to figure out how the whole chain works and if everything in the chain is according to the cradle to cradle principle, and do you have influence to change this or not? And for instance, we use for the sleeves, which are made out of wool felt, we use the wool of a sheep, and then to find out if the sheep are held under good conditions and if they don't have what they call sheep bath, and that means that they put them in a bath with a lot of toxins. And the toxins come into the wool of the sheep, and also in the sheep itself, that we use the wool and it connects with us, or you eat the sheep and that comes into your body. So a lot of toxins are used that you don't even know of. But so we try to figure out how this works and what happens and how the coloring of the felt of the wool was done, and if they recycle the water. So we kind of did like a whole research project on the materials. And then also when we designed it, we thought, okay, we didn't, for instance, want to use Velcro because that wasn't biodegradable yet. Now they have actually a new Velcro, which is biodegradable after 5 years later now or something. But so we made the sleeve that it was a bit longer so that the computer or phone wouldn't just drop out. But these are solutions that you try to figure out with your design that don't always hold up with the easy way of how you want to do it, because just adding a zipper or Velcro would be the easiest. And so it was also a design challenge that way. And then after that, we thought, okay, well, let's see if we can do another one. And then we designed our tree bags. And the tree bags are bags fully biodegradable as well, that are made out of materials from trees. And some of it is waste, and some of it is not waste, but FSC materials, so that they replant trees. Also with that, we wanted to make a bag, which was like where you can put your computers in or so, which was strong and could be used to go to work. And with this, the challenge was also we used new materials to use the qualities of the materials in the design. And we used the waste of a coconut. It has a shell around it when it's still in the tree. And when the coconut falls down, then the shell kind of opens and you have the coconut. And that shell is normally left on the beach as waste. We use that. We make little threads out of it. And we, like wool felt, we kind of like push it together, scrub it together. So it becomes a material which isn't strong enough for a bag at that moment, and also not water resistant. So we added sun-dried rubber to it, which kind of flows into it, and it turns into a new material. And this material is not as flexible as leather or fabrics, so it's kind of sturdy. So we also had to make a design that goes with this sturdiness of the bag. So it has, therefore it has special shapes kind of. And it was also interesting to see, what can you do then with this sturdiness? We had to buy a special sewing machine because it's very hard and it doesn't just go through leather as other sewing machines. And so there were a lot of challenges on the way. And also we needed to design a closing system, and we didn't want to use a zipper because that wasn't biodegradable. And so we designed a new clasp system, it clicks into each other with walnut wood, but that's also a new mechanism. So we kind of had a very interesting experience designing this bag because it's new and it has was a lot of challenges, but yeah, we're happy. We didn't stop. We just went on to figure out how you could use it in this sense. And those are our interesting challenges, but also very rewarding when you come up with, in the end, this tree bag.
So are you actually creating fabric and then using the fabric to create the end product? Are you sort of doing all of that at reWrap?
Yeah, in this case we did. We wanted to find a new cradle to cradle kind of material and work with that. But at the time we were working with that, we went, for instance, to Materia, which is a Dutch company where they have all sorts of materials, and also they're marked into are they sustainable, are they waterproof, that kind of stuff. So we checked with them, and they had some nice materials we thought we would be able to use, but a lot of those materials were still in testing and put up there as ideas. So in the end, yeah, we had to combine what was out there and try to figure out, also knowing that we wanted to make a bag, that what does it need to be used for a bag. And it wasn't per se when we started that we wanted to design a new material, but because we wanted to use the biodegradable loop, yeah, we had to be creative in that sense.
How long did it take for you to create this new material? It sounds like a massive project.
Yeah, we thought we'll take for a year to put it from start to end and have the product ready, but it took us, I think, 2 years or something, because when you come up with an idea, before you find the right suppliers and have checked their whole line, also how biodegradable they are, and we had to test it in the factories if they could match it. And so that was quite a challenge, which we didn't plan to, but which happened. And then we thought, well, we all the time thought we're almost there, and kept going. And also at some certain point we thought, oh, we won't be able to do it. We need to make concessions. And then we were kind of stubborn, thinking, no, we really want the whole product to be biodegradable and not just one part. But that was our choice. I think it's also good for companies when they start using biodegradable materials in parts of their process, because all steps help. But we thought, as a brand, we want to show that cradle to cradle design is possible, that we, wanted to give a good example and do the whole cycle and do the whole product this way. And that was really a challenge. Also, one point we had to kind of also skip over our own principles is that we have 2 screws in the bag still. And the screws you can screw them out and then reuse them. So it's still in the cradle to cradle principle, but those are the only 2 that are not biodegradable, but in the technical cycle. And that these are the challenges that we put on against ourselves, is that we wanted to have the whole design and the whole process according to our principles.
Do you have actual accreditation for this production and for these materials that you've produced?
We don't have them, and also because it's very expensive to have everything accredited, and we're just a small little company trying to bring some innovation into the market. So that's quite difficult. Some of the parts are accredited because we work with different suppliers. So if the supplier accredits something, that also is part of our product. It is partly therefore also accredited, but we don't have a stamp saying that our whole product is cradle to cradle. And also, for instance, on the cradle to cradle website, we are mentioned because of the whole concept, but don't have a golden or a silver stamp or something, because that's too expensive. And also what we're trying to aim for is to really inspire people to think about it and to show them that it is possible. And also by asking questions and asking suppliers, what does your material look like? What are the steps? And we hope to encourage them to see that people are asking for these kinds of materials, so that they will redevelop or look into their own processes. And also, if you wear the bag and you walk on the street and you have this bag with you, it's a very different kind of material. So you make a statement and you show that it is possible. And that's our main aim or main goal, to inspire and to show that it is possible, and to hopefully have others do the same.
So you were saying earlier that you were also creating a sleeve for a computer, and you have this bag. Are these the 2 products that you have on the market at the moment, or are there more?
No, these are the 2 we have. So the sleeves for computers and iPhones and iPads, and the 2 bags, the large and the medium.
And so who are your clients? Are you selling them to the end user? How are you entering the market with these products?
We sell them through our website, so that to the end users. And also we are in a couple of stores, but mostly what happens is that we're at like innovation fairs or exhibitions or stands or websites. So not really through a store, but more on the innovation partners. And and the next challenge is also to see, which stores would work. With the sleeves, we were in, for instance, instance, the Apple Store, but then the market goes into, they have product for a short while and then they have new products again. And so now the sleeves are selling online very well, but the bags, we are looking for partners that just a few, but that you have some points where you can go to touch the bag and to feel it because it's really new materials. Yeah, sometimes people think it's a bit scary. Everybody notices it, and when somebody's walking with the bag, they say, "Hey, what is that? What do you have there? That's interesting." But it's not familiar. It's not leather or fabric, so people want to touch, and that online you can't touch yet. So therefore, having a couple of interesting stores that have innovative products, that would be nice. That's our next step. It's more a going to work bag. It's not like a backpack or going to the woods. It's more a creative business person would use it.
How long did you say that you've been going as a company?
I think for more than 5 years already, but we're just a couple of people and we work with a lot of freelancers. So it's not like we're working on this full time, which therefore also it takes a bit longer than when you're on it full time.
Where does your production actually happen? The actual production of your bags?
And so the production is in Amsterdam, and we are working with a social local workplace, meaning the people that work there are looking for ways to integrate back into society. So some have a handicap, some have language problems, some have been out of the work area for a longer time. So this is a place where they can go and reintegrate. So also our production, it's not done in in just a week and a lot of stocks. We work with these people and they produce a couple of bags and then the next ones, and depending on our stock, they could go again. And so it's not like we have 1,000 bags shipped from China, but really a couple of bags a week in the workplace. We would want to expand from out of the Netherlands to other innovative places. New York or London or Hong Kong are places where shopping and new items are lifting off. So we would like to be there, but still not at this moment, not as like selling. It's now more of a special item than of a mass production item. And, depending what the market does, we can also always change. But at this moment, it's not our goal to mega produce and put it all over the market, but have it more as an innovator collector item.
Do you have any data about who actually buys your end products? Do you know who your customers are?
Yeah, mostly the customers are people who believe in more of a sustainable way of living. We call them conscious people. So they really think about what they buy. And at the same time, people who are more the innovators or the early adapters who dare or who want to step out because it's new, it's different. The conscious design innovator people.
So they basically look for you and find you and engage with you because they're already converted ethical consumers or sustainable consumers. So do you have a profile at all for them, like in terms of age and gender, income?
We haven't sketched out a profile, but we know that they're mostly a bit older. So for students, they're interested, but have more of a backpack and don't have so much budget to spend. So these are more the people who started the job and earn some money. Doesn't have to be big, but want to make a statement. And also not really the older people. So it's more a bit, for our case, it's more between the 25-30 and the 45-50, somewhere between there.
And what is the price point for your bags, and how did you come up with the price?
Because the bag is made at the social workplace, and then the materials that we collect and produce, that needs to be paid for. And then we just have a regular margin, like most of the product, what is it, the 2.2 or 2.4, so that you have a margin for the stores to also take percentage, or the retailers in that sense. So it's just a normal base price. We didn't put any extras to it. Still quite expensive. The bag is 175 euros. I don't know in pounds how much it exactly is, but which means, it's not just something that you buy over every moment of the day. You really think about it before you buy something like this.
Yeah.
And it's not per se, well, you can use it every day, but it's not per se an everyday bag. It's more of a statement bag. And so in that sense, to buy it, because you really need to like it to buy it, because it's not cheap, but it's also not expensive. If you think about how much research we put into it and the new materials and all the innovations in that part, we didn't calculate that in the price. So this is what we did because we want to show we want to give an example, and we hope people like it, but also want to use the bag.
How do you plan to market this product and grow in the next few years? Do you have plans to grow?
So we really see it more as a collector's item. We won't be in all stores and being sold everywhere, but trying to find the spots. For instance, we would like to work with some of the conscious celebrities or something that want to make a statement, or people who want to show conscious design, conscious fashion. And if, from this point on, it will become popular, we can still decide if we can reorganize our production process. And we are looking into a way to, because this was our first loop, and if we go into the next one, what can we improve? How can we do it a little bit different? And from that step, it will also be clearer. For instance, we now know what takes us a lot of time or what is easily done. And into the second round, we can see if we can make some changes there and then see from there. But at this moment, our ambitions are not to sell hundreds of thousands of pieces. Our ambition is to, well, of course, it would be nice to have a nice market and from there on grow, but we need to take that first step before we go to the next. There's a possibility to make a little clutch or a notebook, or so that it's easier accessible for people who want to contribute but don't have a big budget to spend, or just want a smaller item to show with, which is not such a big statement. And that might be another route, so that we can bring this to more people, because that's our goal. Is in the end is to inspire a lot of people and everybody to wear more sustainable and cradle to cradle products, or use more sustainable. But for us to we make that statement because it's new and different, and that's how people get inspired, but not per se always buy directly.
And just lastly, Erica, what is your background in terms of your professional background and how you got here?
I call myself a conscious future designer. I also work as a futurist, so I think about the future and about different possible scenarios, and my aim with that is always to, how can we go to a more sustainable future, and what is sustainable, and thinking about those different futures, you can come up with ideas and innovations that would work and help to go to a certain scenario. And from that sustainable future background, also reWrap came to life, because if you see a certain scenario there, we also try to stimulate how to get to this scenario. And that's how reWrap came alive, because that stimulates that you can, production-wise and material-wise, start to design in this way. And I have worked with architectural offices and interior design, and with that, playing with materials and thinking, should we use this or that, and looking into what are the trends and new directions, and from there on, reWrap came to life. And I do some other projects in that sense as well. I have a project called Teach the Future, which is where we try to bring futures thinking into the curriculum of elementary and high schools, so that kids they go to school and they learn about the past and about the now, but they don't learn about the future, or they're not learned to think about the future. So if you don't know how you want the future to look like, then you also don't know where you're going. With that, we try to stimulate future thinking so that they can start to think on, what long-term futures do they see, and what would be the directions you would want to go to, instead of, answering a question on how it's now. Because what they are taught now in schools is that, this is the right answer and you need to, say A or it's B. While I think the answer that they're taught, or that they need to, answer to get a correct grade, is the answer for the now. And when they are out of school, the world will look different, and they would need to be able to figure out right answers for that situation, and not be taught the answer from the past, kind of. And that's another project we're really working on to help create the sustainable future.
That's really, really interesting. How do you manage to do that? Like, do you have relationships with particular schools, or are you going to the very top the people who create the curriculum?
Yeah, well, actually, at the moment, we're trying. So it's called Teach the Future Europe. So we're trying to bring together people all in Europe, and in the Netherlands, we are now discussing with UNESCO and the Ministry of Education to make the Netherlands pilot country for futures education. We are working with teacher programs, so students that want to become teachers, and we are trying to integrate this future thinking into the curricula of those schools, so that these students learn to think about the future of education, and also with that learning about their future and how they want to educate the kids of the future, and then learning how this future thinking works. The next step is also to learn how that works and how they can bring it to their students. And so with this pilot, we are now we're trying to organize it at the moment, but the idea is to work with 5 teacher programs, 5 middle schools and 5 primary schools, to really integrate this into their curricula the way it matches their curricula, and then promote and then also describe all the steps and the materials, and then bring it to all the other countries through UNESCO to show how you can bring futures thinking into your education.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. That's really, really interesting. Thank you for sharing that.